Hi YouTube, this is One here, and I'm here to do the review for Game of Thrones episode 6. So let's try and get all of this stuff together. And this is actually mostly a character, it's mostly a character orientated episode. It's got loads of character development, and it does little to further the plot as such, but it just gives a few like good key moments for these characters, which were kind of needed. So okay, the stuff going on with Arya, the stuff going on with Arya is actually very, very interesting. Arya is just part of this, like, religious cult, basically. It's the most modern way of, of, saying what these characters are, and what this organization that she's joined is. It's a religious cult. That basically tears off the faces of other people, so that they can hide behind the masks. As a superhero fan, and as someone who likes to deeply integrate himself into, these, superhero worlds, I would say the stuff going on with Arya is so interesting, because it's all about sort of identity and sort of how precious your own identity is, and sort of having to give this identity up in order to serve a greater cause. It's something that I think we all can relate to in some way. I'm sure we've all felt like, we're losing our identities, whether it be in a relationship, whether it not being in a relationship. And we've all had these identity issues, and seeing Arya sort of go down towards that, and sort of going down this path where she needs to become more than Arya Stark. She's ready to become something more. She's ready to become Batman. No, she wants to become something more than just what she was. And I do think that's such an intriguing character, intriguing character arc, and it puts Arya in a very different situation to Sansa Stark, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, just such an interesting little character arc, and I really like the exploration of, again, her wanting to be something more, her needing to be something more so she can get revenge, for what she lost. Again, very intriguing character arc. The stuff going on, in terms of Jaime Lannister trying to get his daughter, that stuff, basically pushed to the extent where he found his daughter, who's actually not in a very bad place. Her daughter kind of likes being there. She kind of likes, the boy she's supposed to marry, and she doesn't want to be taken away from that. It's a very interesting, position for such an individual to be in, and I think Jaime Lannister might have to make a choice, whether or not he leaves, his daughter where she is. And yeah, I found the whole Jaime Lannister's search for his daughter and the whole, like, brief fight scene between, them and, the female Furies, I'm just gonna call them, to be just, it was very, very short. I'm actually very surprised at how far in the season we are. I thought we were in, like, season, I thought we were in, like, season, episode, like, 4 or 5. We're not, we're actually in episode 6 now, so this season has gone really, really quickly. So kind of like this fight scene, which should have been an extended fight scene, was actually comparatively short. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. I wouldn't have minded a bigger, a bigger fight scene. The stuff going on with Tyrion Lannister and that other guy in the yellow, that was fine. Again, not much happened. They're just progressing where he needed to be. Now we get on to Sansa Stark. This is something I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail, as I feel what it's touched upon is something very, very interesting. And I've seen a lot of comments about this, so I just wanted to say my piece on it. What I am about to cover is the fact that Sansa was raped, and basically the forced sex scene, although it didn't look forced. I know that sounds wrong, but it didn't look forced the way it was shot. I will explain that in a minute. But if you completely object to the ideas of rape and that kind of stuff, be it personal or whatever, you might want to end the video here. And I don't want to offend anyone with what I say. I am completely against the idea of rape, but I'm going to be talking about this in detail, and I don't want anyone to be offended or not offended, or yeah. Okay, so Sansa getting raped. Now, the way this scene was shot kind of didn't feel like it was rape. And it was definitely some form of rape, that I'm not going to question. Okay, so obviously, Sansa Stark, obviously is a virgin, and here's how it's rape. Basically, Ramsay is an emotionally manipulative person. He will break people. Like, he will break someone in here, and physically. He is both physically and mentally abusive. And this is something very different from Joffrey. Joffrey was physically abusive. You could argue, yes, he was mentally abusive, But let's face it, he was more physically abusive. Ramsay is a lot worse because when you look at the scenes in season 3 where you saw him break Reek, I can't remember what his actual name is at this point, but when he broke Reek, that was both emotional and physical torture that brought him down to like the base levels. And then basically through psychological manipulation, he's basically created an agent that is fully dependent on Ramsay for love and praise, and because of his lack of manhood, Reek basically is an incomplete human. And that's what he's thinking. And forcing Reek to basically watch as he has sex with Sansa is rape in the sense that she's physically getting attacked, but it's also rape for the guy. And why it's rape for the guy is because basically he lacks that urge. But I'm pretty sure there are chemicals still in the body when you do have that cut off. You still have that, some kind of urge. And it was a very sickening shot, actually. And I'm very, very glad that we didn't actually have to see the rape happen. This show likes to push the boundaries of between what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And mainly, it pushes that fine line between, accepting and not being acceptable. Unfortunately for the scene, we didn't, have to see Sansa get raped. And rape is a very, very touchy subject for a lot of people. But yeah, guys, it was essentially rape. I mean, at first, I actually thought that the woman was gonna rape Sansa at first, because she looked like she was gonna physically attack her. But Ramsay basically forces, basically manipulates her, and I'm not really making myself clear, so I'm gonna kind of leave it off here. But basically, how I see that scene is there is some form of abuse in there. And it's not just Sansa that was getting the abuse. It was also Reek as well. There are two parties who were basically being attacked by this one individual. And whether you agree or disagree with me, that scene is still abuse in some shape or form. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna leave this review off. I hope you have enjoyed this review, and stay tuned for more reviews, starting with Flash. Flash is obviously the last episode, so yeah. Bye, guys.